Warning, this podcast contains graphic language. What's going on out there in the hemisphere? What's going on, Necktie? What's going on, Red Pill? What's going on out here? Welcome to KDR Podcast. I'm right here in the Pacific Northwest, just podcasting it up all across the world, baby. You name it, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Germany, Canada. There's some MGTOW listen to this shit, and I appreciate you very much. Well, if this is your first time on the podcast, guess what? I start with a little intro with the music and stuff like that, and then I get to the nitty gritty. So here we go. No further ado, just bear with me because I'm dealing with new equipment and stuff like that. So just bear with me, gentlemen. All right? Just bear with me. I'm fatigued. I'm tired. And I was thinking to myself, should I do the podcast? Should I wait till tomorrow? And I say, fuck this shit. Let's do this shit right now. So no further ado, I'm waiting for the gentleman out there from across the world to jump in the live stream podcast. And no further ado, let's start with the intro. God damn it. Shit. Here we go.
It's getting serious on this track, fam.
Because I respect Kim Delrico. I do. Oh, he's simping for some pussy, bitches. I'm being simp all day. Fuck you. Oh, he's simping for some pussy, bitches.
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the shit show.
I'm being simp all day. Fuck you.
Because it's a shit
I
show
respect Kim Delrico.
on a global scale. It's a shit show everywhere. But, you know, it's very predictable. When you, like myself, gentlemen, I am a student of history, for heaven's sake. Right? So, I guess it's going to take place in Ireland, of all places, for heaven's sake. They're going to change the constitution with women, right? Because the Marxists, feminists, decide that the constitution and, you know, and it's not like the Constitution of the United States, right? It's Ireland, for heaven's sake, right? So the Constitution basically say that women need to stay at home, take care of the shorties, take care of the kids, and during that time, men got to fight and stuff like that, and responsibility for women is to stay at home and take care of the children, for heaven's sake. That's what they're supposed to do. So now they're going to do these vote out there, right? Where they're going to change it, right? It sounds to me like sort of like socialism, right? But not really, because if you look at a different perspective, when it was written, the Constitution with Ireland, which is part of the UK, by the way, but it meant to like basically like the chicks stay at home and men do men shit, right? That's what they call the nuclear family. See, these Marxist feminists have infiltrated everywhere. It's not only in Ireland, in Argentina, and Mexico, and all the Western society, right? Where they got the Christianity, Catholicism, and stuff like that. They are infiltrated and they're trying to change Western society, right? By all means necessary, right? So I was intrigued, right? Because I watched this interview with Tucker Carlson and this lady out there in Ireland and what they're trying to implement. Changing the constitution out there in Ireland, right? And I just like, when I'm watching the interview and then I get to the nitty gritty, that's a sweet deal for chicks, for women. Stay at home, you the mother, and stuff like that. And, you know, you don't have to go to work. Pretty much, basically, when you look at it, on the Ireland Constitution, the women have the right to stay at home. They don't have to work. They don't. They stay at home and do home stuff. Shopping, take care of the babies, so on and so forth, for the men out there working or whatever, a war, or so on and so forth, right? But now the Marxist feminists, they want to change this constitution, and I think there's going to be a vote in a couple of days and stuff like that, where the Irish constitution is going to be changed, meaning that women cannot stay at home anymore. They have to out there produce for the big corporation, for the big whatever the fuck it is out there. You know, that everybody, women have to go out there. And I'm not simping for women, all right? I'm not simping for women, okay? Because I look at this stuff in a global scale. I look at this Marxist feminism is a poisonous epidemic on a global scale. And the main, how can I phrase this, for heaven's sake? The perpetrator of all these Marxist feminists is United States. Yeah, I say it. The main perpetrator of the Marxist feminists is United States. Especially now, with social media and this and that. And not now, for the last 30 years. Girl, you know, man, you know, the government going to take care of you, this and that, so on and so forth, and shit like that, you know, and stuff. It's happening in Western society. Listen, all I do is an observation. If it correlates, it correlates, right? The sky is blue, is blue. Another correlation, and then I'm going to go back to the Marxist feminists that I noticed for the last 4 or 5 years, right? The infiltration of illegal immigrants in Europe, okay? I saw this thing running out there in Europe and stuff from different parts of the world and shit like that. Right? And I said to myself, eventually it's going to come over here. Well, guess what? After the election with Trump and the new president, Joe retarded Biden and stuff like that, well, guess what? The floats of the gates is open. It reminded me 4 or 5 years ago when I saw Europe being colonized by different immigrants and shit like that, right? Now it's happening in the United States. It's the same thing with Marxist feminism. The modern Marxist feminism, nobody can take this away from me. It started in the United States. Period. Bottom line. Now, it has polluted on a global scale, except those Eastern countries. Meaning the Saudis, meaning the Arabic countries and Eastern Asia countries. Because they know this shit. They understand that these women need to be have a strong pimp hand on them, meaning play your role and I play my role. And if you're out of control, guess what? You're going to be out on the streets. That's how it goes. For millennials, for millennial, it's been like that. So if you bear with me, gentlemen, so you don't think I'm talking shit. And I understand that my channel get like a lot of copyrights and stuff like that. I get it. But I'm going to play you a sound bite here. You know, with Tucker interviewing this Irish chick in Ireland, and what's going to be the new constitution regarding to the Marxist feminists, right? And just bear with me, okay? You understand that it's not local government. It's not your local government. It's supposed to be your local government. It's supposed to be your local country. But what we're facing as the Western society is globalism. It's technocracy. They want everybody to go out there and produce and produce and produce. And meanwhile, they get filthy rich off your labor. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating socialism at all, because I believe in the free market. But that's the implement has been going on for the last at least 50 years or so. But now it has, when in a global scale with this Marxist feminists, the small island out there in Europe, on the UK, they're implementing this regulation or this law. Yeah, pretty much the law out there, right? Which they don't have much law out there, but if they change the constitution, meaning that women gonna have to work with children, not single women, but with children. That is the separation. Single women, you can work to death. It was those women who was protected by having children. Now, you have to look at this thing differently, okay? Us, United States, we don't have that stuff, right? We have a real constitution followed by a republic. Those folk out there, that's what they have, okay? That's what they have. They don't have the right to bear arms. They don't have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. They don't have none of that shit, right? So what little they got, they try and, take away. You have to look at this thing in different perspective. You cannot look at this shit like your average American idiot who never traveled anywhere. Because I've been travel in different places across the world, especially in Europe and stuff like that. Now that pollution is here, the Marxist feminists are taking over or trying to take over Ireland, for heaven's sake. You know, when you look at Ireland, I remember not too far ago, and I was like, you know, I was a young kid and stuff like that. And these niggas, they blow up shit. They were out there blowing up shit. I forgot what was the whole thing about, but all I knew that in the news, it was some kind of Ireland bombing going on every fucking time. These niggas didn't give a fuck about shit. I don't know if they were fighting for the independence, but I remember one thing that this is what I remember, that Bill Clinton went out there to the UK and Ireland, and they did a peace treaty, and everything's been great since then. But I remember back in those days, Ireland, it was a chaos. It was bombing and shit like that. I forgot the name of the fucking thing it was all about. It's so long ago, you know, and I was like teenager or something like that. Long time ago. This is a long time ago. Long time ago. So, just bear with me, gentlemen. I'm dealing with my stuff here. I'm gonna play you soundbite here and see what the fuck is going on out there in Ireland, for heaven's sake. Unbelievable. Just bear with me, gentlemen. I'm dealing, you know, cheap ass equipment. You know, I wish I can like do this thing instantly, but there you go. You hear some shit out there, for heaven's sake. Unbelievable. All right, so this is the clip that I might stop it, right? So I'm gonna play you a scenario for those who's driving, those who are watching, and those who, you know, who's out there listening or whatever, right? So, Tucker Carlson interviewing this chick out there in Ireland, and the title of the clip is "The Modern Feminists Destroying Ireland and Americans Next." I disagree with the title. I really disagree with the title because we started this book. The Americans started this shit because America is a big, United States of America is a big influence on a global scale. Big influence. You cannot believe how American influence is on a global scale. From the music, from the art, from the movies and stuff. So this notion that the modern feminists destroying Ireland and Americans next, America has been destroyed for many years now. Meaning, look at the marriage rate. Gone. Look at the cohabitation rate. Gone. Look at the birth rate. Gone. Within the last 15 years. So what the fuck the title says Americans Next? No. No. Fuck no. We are here in the belly of the beast. This is the belly of the beast, man. It started here and then it went globally. And especially with the internet, especially with the Me Too movement, especially with all this stuff, you know. And it goes back even in the 1960s, right? This Marxist feminism. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm repeating the same, beating the same drum over and over again. But it's true, you know. I said this shit like, 6 years ago? How the Marxist feminism destroy American family, especially those who live in an urban area, especially those in the 1960s with black family and Latino family and stuff like that, and white family, how the Marxist feminism, the liberals, infiltrated and tell the black wife, the Latina wife, you don't need a man anymore. We can take care of you. We put y'all here in the projects. Back then it wasn't a project. It was called, like a fancy, because when the projects, most of the projects they developed during the 60s, and trust me, I know this for a fact because in Puerto Rico I lived in the projects. Not only that, I got family members, they used to live in the projects. So the project is a project, right? It is, it's housing and stuff. You don't have to do that much work. We're going to give you this. But guess what? Your husband, you got to divorce him or whatever. And you can stay here and your kids can stay here and we're going to take care of you, right? That's called government innovation. That's just facts. That's what they did back in the 1960s and 70s and 80s and 90s and shit. The beautiful thing about the projects, if you can move out of the projects, you're going to be a better person for the rest of your life. It's true. But I digress. So, out there in Ireland, which, by the way, talking about projects, Ireland, they do have projects. They really do. I've seen them years ago. They do have projects. What they call buildings and stuff like that. But for most part, it's pretty much open land and they do Irish shit and stuff like that. But before I play this soundbite, the way I see this new constitution trying to get rewritten by this Marxist feminists, right? The way I see it, and like I said previously, pretty much is like the wife stay at home and do women shit, take care of the babies, take care of this and stuff like that. Now they want to change it where women either have to go to work or do whatever. It's kind of bizarre. And I'm going to be honest with you because I'm not Irish. Of course, by my accent, you can tell I'm not Irish. But why to mess with something? Why? What is the reason to mess with the Ireland Constitution? I don't get it. I really don't fucking get it. Yes, I get it. I get it, but most people wouldn't understand it. It's Marxist feminism. But because at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. Women gonna do what the fuck women want to do. Okay? Unless you or society, what they call the patriarchy, keep the women in check. But there's no patriarchy anymore. There is, but not really. The Western society patriarchy is dying. It is dying. All these Marxist feminists, all the patriarchy. There's no patriarchy. And those who have it is very like small, especially in Western society. The only patriarchy in Western society is the Latins. That's it. Yes. Latinos are part of Western society. They're not Anglo Western world, but we still have the same belief as the Anglo-Saxon. Besides the Latin, and it's like pretty much in the Latin countries and stuff like that, when Western society is getting really bad. With the Marxist feminists. So let me play you something about here, and then I want to end up the podcast.
But before we kind of delve into the legal framework, I think it's important to have a conversation for a moment about what motherhood is. You know, motherhood is a biological function. It's not fatherhood. A mother is not parent number one or carer number one, but that's what the new wording is trying to achieve. It's trying to conflate motherhood with parenting, with caring. And it's a devaluing and a debasing of what motherhood is. I mean, we know that the most fundamental marker of success and stability in life is secure attachment between a mother and their child. And in clinical terms, the mother-baby dyad, you know, it's described as the same biological and social unit. And that's because their heartbeat and their breathing rates will regulate even their brain waves. And science has just, you know, confirmed this idea that how the mother can really be in sync with the child emotionally and offer that responsive emotional attachment, because they have discovered this concept called micro fetal chimerism, whereby there's an exchange of cells, and those stem cells of that baby, no matter how long that baby was carried by that mother, will stay in the mother's body long term. So, and I must say, you know, the opposite is true in terms of maternal attachment. You know, as a criminal barrister, I read psychological reports all the time that sadly, of defendants that talk about the mother being absent, the mother dying, sadly, the mother, maternal suicide. So it is in the interest of society to do everything in its power to empower and enable that mother-baby secure bond. And with this new wording, you know, it's doing the opposite, because it will actually reduce motherhood to simply caring, and mothering is not caring. If you look also at the actual wording, it's reducing an obligation on the state to ensure that women are not forced out of the home through economic necessity. And so really what it's saying is that if you want to stay at home with your children, and women are rarely asked if they do want to. An official state-funded feminism across the Anglosphere tells them that if they want to do that, that's sort of beneath them. They shouldn't relegate themselves to this role. But when they are asked, actually, 7 out of 10 women in Ireland would much rather be at home with their small children. And when children are asked, only 1% would rather go to creche. But this doesn't suit the new agenda, the new paradigm. As you quite rightly said, it is about neoliberalism. It's a corporate capitalist agenda, but it's dressed up in the language of feminism, of progressivism. It is not progressive to strip constitutional protections from mothers and from women. And if we look at what rights do exist in 41.2 as it stands currently, In Ireland, we're very unique in this regard. If, for example, a woman has decided to stay at home to look after the family and given up her career, once that marriage ends and there's divorce in the courts, provision has to be made. If the husband has the means financially, provision has to be made for that arrangement to remain. So the woman will not be forced out to work if that has been the arrangement during the duration of the marriage. There is a legal protection there for stay-at-home mothers. But I think what the government are hoping is that the sort of vague language, vapid slogans of equality, of inclusivity, of moving with the times, that, the people will just be intoxicated with this vision of themselves of sort of casting off their dark Catholic past, and that this is just the next step. And, as you may know, we have had referenda in the past where, we brought in gay marriage, we brought in divorce, we brought in abortion. But arguably there was a grassroots demand and campaign for these, new pieces of, these amendments to our constitution. But this is different. There has been no appetite or demand for these changes, and we question really what's behind them. It seems to me that there's a smokescreen being created in order to strip away constitutional rights from mothers and from women, and also to allow the state to further avoid its obligation to provide for proper provision of care for disabled people and their carers, who, after all, are 98% of them are women. So really, when you look at the drafters of 1937 rather, they were trying to protect the work that women do in the home, that caring work, that mothering work, that was enshrined in our constitution. But now, still 98% of that unpaid care is done by women. But what this government is trying to do is essentially recast reality by removing what they describe as sexist language. But that's like rearranging the deck chairs. It's not going to change inequality on the ground or in households. And they're not prepared.
Like I said previously, it sounds like a case of socialism. When I open up this thing, right, it sounds like a case of socialism, right? Because it is what it is. You understand? I understand it. I get it. But the leftists are so great changing their vocabulary. They're mad. I got to give my hands up to the Marxist leftists. They are great changing their vocabulary. They are brilliant at that shit. Brilliant. They are. And like I say at the beginning of the podcast, it sounds like sort of like a socialism, but with a twist. Now, I'm not Irish. I'm just doing an observation, my friends. That's it. If the Ireland Constitution is better that women should be taken care of, right? Why change it? Why? And then what? The government going to take over and stone and so on and so forth and shit like that? Why would we mess with something, right, that is there? Why? That's a question that I ask myself. But I know why. I know why. The problem with Western society, they have depended in too much socialism program. Like I mentioned previously, when the Marxist feminists in the 1960s told the black wife the Latina wife, the white liberal wife. You don't need your husband. You can move here. You can move there. It was a socialist program. We put you here. We give you this. We give you that. Don't worry about the man. We're going to take care of you and your child. We're the government. We're going to take care of you. Oh, you had a child out of wedlock? Guess what? We're going to find the father. And we're going to slap this child support in his ass. So whatever he made, guess what? It goes to you. Not only that, you got food stamps, you got this, you can work, you can do this, you can do that. The government going to take care of you. It's a social program. It is what it is. So the title of Tucker is like feminism, trying to change the Constitution, and America's next. No. America was first. Now they follow across the world and the Western society. Mexico, they don't have child support. El Salvador don't have child support. All these Western society, Western countries, and Latin America, they don't have child support. They don't. Puerto Rico do because it's part of the United States. Republic Dominican don't have no child support. Barbados, they don't have no child support. No, because it came down to women's responsibility. If you got pregnant at early age, guess what? The whole family going to take care of this shit. And they will hold the skank feet to the fire. It's like, listen, bitch, you can have like multiple baby daddies and stuff like that. We can afford this stuff. You know? You can afford this stuff. Hold your legs, do something, you know? And shit like that. They held women responsibility and accountability for the action within their own family. Fam. You know, that's how it goes. True story, history fact. I know you fellas heard the terminology of shotgun wedding, especially out there in the South. You know, the South still got a little bit of Americana. They really do. Well, not really that much, but some parts they do, right? And I know maybe in the history books and stuff like that, if you learn anything from history and stuff like that, in the United States, they once upon a time, they called it shotgun wedding, right? I know you heard this phrase. Well, the history is that the bitch, it was back in those times, 16, 15 and stuff, fucking around and shit like that. And the family are poor, and the bitch got pregnant, And they found a guy who impregnated my daughter. And this man has a wife and 3 other women. Food, it was not abundance. They out there in the farm and doing shit, right? The man of the household who got this bitch pregnant. I want to know who did it. And he will drill the bitch. Who got you pregnant? And she will say, Jonathan out there. Jonathan got out there? He got you pregnant? And the father went out there and spoke to the family. Your son got my daughter pregnant. I can't afford another kid out here. Either I shoot him right now, or we're going to have a shotgun wedding. We're going to drag this motherfucker, and we're going to get them married, and whatever shit left over is up to them. And they're going to help with the farm, they're going to help with this, and they're going to help with that. And both families have to help and stuff like that. That's how it goes. The family got together and say, even they could be enemies as families and stuff like that. But once you get a girl pregnant and the man got to get pregnant and stuff like that, it's shotgun wedding. Either you marry the bitch or we're going to kill this motherfucker. That's how it was, my friend. It wasn't all this shenanigan and this and that social program and this stuff and stuff like that. No. It wasn't like that. Not too far long ago. It's called accountability and responsibility. You know, years ago, I'm looking at shotgun weddings on Google. It's all black and white stuff. And I look at shotgun weddings when it took place and what part of the South and stuff in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Arizona, Texas. It was out there. It was like all the states that had this shit. It wasn't no social program bullshit. It wasn't no food stamps. It wasn't no how you call these Section 8. It wasn't none of that. None of that bullshit. None of it. Everybody's struggling by himself, and you trying to tell these it wasn't no fucking birth control. The only birth control is a shotgun wedding. That's it. They be like, Daddy, I don't want no shotgun wedding. I want to be a good girl and I want to get this thing right. You know, and you met a suitor. You know? Yeah, but a shotgun wedding is for bitches who went out there and got pregnant in their teens and stuff like that. That's it. Good old patriarchy. Good old days. But it's true fact, it's true history. If you don't believe me, Google it. Google it. They barely had enough to eat. And you trying to tell me that you're going to bring another one out here because you was a fucking slut? And you got pregnant without being married? That's how the mentality was. Real talk. That's how mentality was. Daddy was like, I know what? I got 3 girls and you pregnant and I'm dealing with your mom and you 15 and stuff like that. And no. Who got you pregnant? Because I'm not dealing with this shit. We are here. We are fulled up out here, this bitch. Who got you pregnant? And she was sing like a canary. Oh yeah, it wasn't no internet. It wasn't no TV. It was nothing but good old bullets and land and good stuff. These folk wasn't fucking around. Shotgun wedding is a real thing that took place in the United States. True history. It wasn't like, because nowadays they play these you see like TikToks and shit like that with a fake shotgun and the wedding. No. And I know the Southern, they keep this old tradition going, but in the real shit, that's how it was. The men business out there. It wasn't no McDonald's. It wasn't none of this shit. Either you work in the land, you do this stuff, or you work in a city, or you live there, you live here, and stuff like that. For heaven's sake, if you have kids out of wedlock, shotgun wedding. Now, if you want to get married, go to church, and we both family and stuff like that. That's my wife, that's my husband, that's my family, that's her family, and this and that. Yes, that was acceptable. But shotgun wedding is about these skanks getting pregnant without being married. That's all it was. They violated the code during that time. Good old patriarchy. We don't have that shit anymore, for heaven's sake. We don't. Oh, we got social programs. Everything's social programs. And beware of the social programs. Be fucking aware of social programs. I'll put it this way because I'm about to call it off. Be aware of everything. Question everything. And not only question everything. Look at this. Look at things are different perspective. And do not only look at things a different perspective, but at least look at it on a global scale. And you have to consume the red pill on a global scale. Because the world is very complex. I know I'm a little off the subject, but I'm just saying. You have to look at this thing and different perspective. I don't know what's going to take place in the next 2 years or 3 years. But I'm going to beat the same drum like I've been doing for the last as a content creator, 6 years. Be aware of your government. Be aware of the Marxists. Be aware of the banks. Be aware of your surroundings. Not only be aware and come with your own conclusion. What do you think? How can I navigate to these waters? How can I end the place that I want to be? You have to be aware of all kinds of shit. From political, from all this stuff. You got to be aware of all kinds of shit, dude. It's just so much fucking shit they throw us as human beings that it's impossible for us to calculate it all at one time. It's impossible. It's fucking impossible. The best thing you can do is to survive and thrive and navigate. And then, well, guess what? Death is at the door. You know? That's for me, that's what I try to do, you know? I look at this thing in different perspective. Yes, I am a man going my own way. I've been doing this thing for years, so I'm seasoned. All I'm trying to do with my life is just trying to connect the dots. What is bullshit? What is nonsense? What is real? What is fake? What is truth? And the truth, I pursue the truth than anything else. And I avoid nonsense and bullshit. Because when you look at it, it's nothing but nonsense and bullshit. If you pursue this truth, well, guess what? As my point of view, I will be free. I cannot sit here and put this podcast if I'm not telling the truth, or at least try to tell the truth. I'm not telling you anything. I don't want anything from you. I'm just expressing my First Amendment, my born right as a United States citizens. You can take it, not take it. You can tell me to fuck off in the comments. I will not get offended. I don't give a fuck. But at least I'm trying to seek the truth. especially nowadays with all so much lie and deception and technology and stuff like that. That anyone who tell the truth, either going to be canceled, it's going to be this, or going to be that, shadow banned and shit like that. Trust me, I know this shit. I experienced this for myself as a small channel. But we have to be persistent. If you know the truth, tell the truth. Us Americans, we are so fucking blessed that we have this thing called the First Amendment. Even though the technocrats, the corporations, they're trying to feed the agenda, whatever, right? We are so blessed that we have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. We are the only country in the fucking world that we can express ourselves and not giving a fuck. There's no other country that have a constitution that you have the First Amendment, freedom of speech. Now, they try to pervert it with this nonsense and bullshit that, oh, you use this platform and this, that, and that, and shit like that and stuff. At the end of the day, I got the First Amendment. I can go outside, literally, with a bullhorn and say the same shit out there with the drug addicts, hooked up in methamphetamine, hooked up in all kinds of drugs out there. And I can go with a bullhorn and say the same shit that I'm doing out here in YouTube. With a rich global scale? No. But I got that birthright. Would I sound like a madman out there with a bullhorn saying this thing that I'm talking with you right now? Of course. Would they look at me crazy? Of course. But I can do it. Ain't nobody can stop me. As long as I don't cause any harm, I can go out there and express myself however the fuck I want to say on a public square. Well, gentlemen, like I always say, peace, state MGTOW. I will catch you on this podcast, live stream or video. I'm working, just bear with me. I'm working on the next walk and talk MGTOW shit video. And, you know, my time is limited. But I think I'm going to go across the bridge and just do some good old-fashioned the walk and talk MGTOW shit. But like I say, gentlemen, peace, state MGTOW. I'll definitely catch you next podcast, live stream or video. Let the universe be with you, gentlemen. I'm out.